Okay, today we're diving into some crucial updates to HAZMAT regulations and the required process of responding to HAZMAT incidents, much like the East Palestine chemical train derailment earlier this year. Since that derailment, regulators have placed a much higher focus on safety when it comes to the transport of these types of hazardous materials. We do know that the transport of these materials is necessary to keep our economy healthy and moving forward, so of course stopping transport is not an option at this point, but making it safer for the public and first responders is. By updating the accident response for trains, they have a goal of better protecting and informing first responders when they respond to an incident. Let's look at the current accident response for trains, the updates, and how they compare to the trucking industry requirements. Up to this point, the process when responding to accidents involving hazardous materials put the responsibility on the first responder, requiring them to access AskRail, an app allowing first responders to access cargo details and see what the train is hauling, and then correspond with crews to review the printed cargo information that they keep in the locomotive cab. Now, one thing that the railroads are required to do is maintain contacts of first responders along the route. The problem is that there's a lot happening and a lot of decisions being made by emergency response teams that then lead to mistakes. If you have questions or concerns, you can contact us at any time at info@cnsprotects.com or just fill out the form below. Okay, so let's discuss the rule and the proposed changes by the Pipelines and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration that plans to shift responsibility to the railroad. The rule is proposing that railroads be required to immediately share cargo details with all emergency responders located within 10 miles of an incident as soon as they become aware of it. They plan to do this by sending push alerts with all of this information. This rule would apply to nearly 600 railroads and would eliminate the responsibility from first responders looking up all this information on an app. With that said, the app will still serve as a backup plan in case responders for any reason cannot access the information sent by the railroad authorities. Now, how does this differ from a HAZMAT incident in the trucking world? In trucking, the initial responsibility falls directly on the driver and the carrier. If a truck driver is involved in a HAZMAT incident, they're required to secure the scene and keep people away, limit the spreading of material when this is a safe option, communicate hazards to emergency responders, and provide shipping papers and emergency response info to emergency response teams. For the carrier, immediate notification is crucial if the hazardous material incident directly results in specific outcomes such as injury or fatality, public evacuation, closure of major transportation arteries, fire, breakage, or spillage of radioactive materials, infectious substances, medical waste, or marine pollutant incidents, and any situation warranting a judgment call of the driver. If you have questions or concerns, or want to take a look at the full requirements, you can check out the full article, or you can contact us at info@cnsprotects.com, or just fill out the form below. For infectious substances, the driver or carrier can notify the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and in cases of a reportable quantity of hazardous substances, the caller needs to provide all essential details. In addition, for hazardous materials, written emergency response information should match what is being transported, and if carrier equipment includes an emergency response guide, no separate document is required. Carriers must also submit a detailed written report within 30 days of the incident unless they are exempt. With this increase in HAZMAT safety regulations, your first line of defense should be proper HAZMAT and DOT training. When it comes to HAZMAT, fines are weighted much heavier, so in addition to keeping others safe, staying compliant with state and federal regulations is extremely important. Non-compliance can lead to hefty fines and penalties, some exceeding $180,000. At CNS, we're fully equipped to provide top-notch HAZMAT compliance training and DOT training. If you need help, just fill out the form below.